Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Goslov. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. It's already 6 p.m. and I believe it's okay for us to kick off with today's session. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Music, Business, and Law session of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship program for this quarter. My name is Gotslov Kamaloni, and it's an honor to be moderating this particular session. It's so great to be back with Gypsy. Okay, so we're going to move straight into the activities for today. We have very, very amazing mentors here with us. Before we go there, Mr. Dennis, do you have any announcements for the mentors or the mentees this evening before we move into hearing from our mentors on music, business, and law?
No announcements for now. Any other announcements to make, we'll be sharing them at the end of the class.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I think at this point I can say we can move into this with today's class. We have entertainment, business, and law, and today we're looking at music. I believe last week it was centered mostly on movies, if I remembered correctly, and based on the mentors we had, yes, film business last week, and this week we're going into music. And I know that our mentors did a fabulous job. I can see some of them are already here with us. So mentees, if you're not so busy, which I believe you're not, let's get ready to welcome our mentors to give us another amazing session as we get to learn about music, business, and law. It's one part of business that is doing so well. And I believe that when we get to understand this, we could do so well in the entertainment business space. Okay, so our first mentor I'll be introducing here this evening is, okay, we have Mr. Raphael Ife Irenen. I hope I got that correctly. Raphael Ife Irenen is an entertainment, media, and intellectual property lawyer. He's the founder of Tempt Africa, a platform that serves as a resource center and reference point for all matters concerning technology, entertainment, media, telecommunications, intellectual property, and fashion in Africa. He was formerly an associate in the entertainment, leisure, and media law business unit at Olaniwon Ajayi LP, a multinational corporate and commercial law firm headquartered in Lagos, Nigeria. He was also an intellectual property and technology associate at ALX, or some call it ALX Partners, where he was seconded as a legal associate to Prunage Technologies Development Limited, an international technology services company also based in Lagos, Nigeria. He has advised a wide range of clients, including international and local clients, on intellectual property, technology, entertainment, and media matters. He's well versed in the realm of entertainment and media law. Thank you so much. A big welcome to Mr. Ife here with us. And so Raphael Ife, thank you so much for joining us on today's session. Okay, the next mentor I'll be introducing this evening is okay. So our mentors here usually have a very, very large repertoire, if I should use that. We have Kabir Adeyemo. Kabir Adeyemo. Okay, I think I'll just read from my device over here due to the prints on the one on the screen. Okay, permit me, please. Kabir Adeyemo's life is a testament to the power of vision, dedication, and excellence. From a young age, Kabir demonstrated an innate leadership ability, inspiring those around him with his sense of purpose and responsibility. Equally evident from childhood was his passion for law and justice, a dream he pursued with unrelenting determination. Guided by his ambition, Kabir enrolled to study law at the prestigious University of Ilorin, where his intellectual prowess and leadership potential flourished. During his time at the university, he actively participated in various leadership roles, demonstrating his ability to unite and inspire his peers. In 2021, he graduated with a degree in law. marking a significant milestone in his journey toward becoming a legal practitioner. Building on his success, Kabir proceeded to the Nigerian Law School, where his commitment to excellence culminated in his graduation with first-class honors. This remarkable achievement solidified his reputation as one of the most promising legal minds of his generation. Beyond his academic credentials, Kabir has continued to whet his professional experience by acquiring certifications that enhance his knowledge and skills, ensuring that he continues to offer the most advanced and quality legal services to his clients and society at large. Kabir's professional career, particularly as an entertainment lawyer, has been nothing short of exemplary. He has carved a niche for himself by working with some of the most prominent figures in the legal space and entertainment industry. His work ethics focuses on protecting intellectual properties of creatives and ensuring that creatives retain ownership of their works while navigating fidgety legal landscapes. He has played a pivotal role in nurturing the skills of artists, advising them on contracts, negotiations, and strategic decisions that safeguard their careers. His expertise and dedication have earned him the trust of industry leaders, further cementing his reputation as a distinguished legal practitioner. His influence extends far beyond his professional achievements. He remains deeply committed to empowering others, mentoring young lawyers, and contributing meaningfully to his community through various channels, most profoundly by leveraging his expertise and experience. His leadership is characterized by a genuine desire to uplift skin, a positive impact that leads. Okay, various media platforms to educate, inspire, and inform. His ability to break down complex legal concepts, particularly on intellectual property and related issues, has earned him recognition and trust from diverse audiences. This has led to invitations to feature on several national television programs where he shares his insights and expertise on pressing legal topics. These appearances have further amplified his voice as an advocate for
Mr. Goslow, can you hear us?
intellectual empowerment, cementing his reputation. Finally, Kabir Ademo, brilliance. That was quite a long read, but please, we have one of our mentors here with us, Mr. Kabir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, and our final mentor for this session this evening. Hello, Mr.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Goslow, please, you can go ahead.
Dennis.
Yeah, sorry, you can go ahead. I wasn't hearing you for a bit, so I did not know it was
Hello.
from my network.
Come again, please. I didn't get that.
Yeah, I said I was having issues hearing you. I think it was my
Okay, I'm having
network. Please,
similar
you can
issues
go
here.
ahead.
My network is not the best.
Sorry to interject. Can we all hear me, or is it just me that cannot hear our
So I
moderator?
can't hear him too. I can't hear him at all.
Okay, sorry, sir. I guess it must be his network. So I think I'll just quickly continue from where he stops before he comes back. So we are reading the profile of Mr. Salami. Mr. Tope Salami is a legal practitioner of international repute and an ECOWAS youth ambassador who has been the core practice of intellectual property slash technology, media entertainment law, general litigation, and corporate slash commercial transaction since being called to the Nigerian Bar Association in November 2014. He has advised numerous individual clients, brands, and corporate agencies across numerous countries in different continents on different aspects of the law, brokering multi-million dollar deals and forming relationship with top brand executives on a personal and working relationship. He is the founder of Whitestone Solicitors and Consultancy, a Lagos-based law firm which provides various types of legal service and consultancy to people in different spheres of law. The law firm stands solidly behind various creative brands as legal advisor, with involvement in top-notch transactions involving different local and international parties. Tope Salami has done a lot of work worthy of mention. He has worked with different multinational brands from Chocolate City, Empower, Sony Pay TV, Sony ATV, BMI, PRS, Song Trust, Sony Music, Median Africa, to mention a few. He has led the legal team to squash the purported murder charge against musician Barry J in Ghana. He led a team to successfully negotiate various deals involving numerous clients with Universal Music Groups, Empower Sony, Satchem. He has also been recognized in Middem, the world's largest gathering of creatives and creative practitioners, and was invited to speak at the Middem conference. He has over the years had numerous speaking engagements within and outside his country of residence, from speaking at Youngpreneurs Entertainment Conference in Accra, Ghana, to being invited to speak at the Middem Conference at Paris, France, and most recently at the Intellectual Property Conference at the Ekiti State University, Ekiti State, Nigeria. Over the past years, Tope Salami has been drawn to the Nigerian creative space and has dedicated the last years to having a better creative space in Nigeria in terms of structure, framework, and legislation. Tope is a passionate engager in the field of technology and intellectual property, and to this end, he has graced various stages with top-notch world practitioners to share his experience within and beyond Africa, thoughts and knowledge in developing fields, particularly in Nigeria. Furthermore, to his passion towards having a sane creative industry, he founded a Nigerian creative firm named The Creative Yard, which caters for the needs of different creatives, as he holds the firm belief that the quotes, talent is not sufficient to build a proper um, creative brand. Creative Yard's sole purpose is to nurture and guide creatives for sustainable growth and development in their chosen field. He currently stands behind heavyweights in the creative space such as DJ Neptune, Blaze Beats, DYDX, etc. He recently launched the legal practice of his law firm with legends like the late Fuji originator, barrister, and the late Benga Adeboye, etc., amongst his legal C practice clientele. Mr. Tope Salami is one of our mentors in the entertainment business and law space. I'm not sure if he's yet on the call, but when he does join in for the session, we'll be very, very, very much happy to have him on ground. Thank you very much, Mr. Raphael, for joining us. We are happy to have you with us. Our moderator is back, so I will be handing the floor back to him, and then we'll continue with the rest of the class. Please, Mr. Gotslov, over to you.
Thank you so much. I had an issue with my network. I'm sorry. I had to go out to come back in. Okay, thank you so much, Dennis, for taking over. At this point, I want to just let the floor. I don't know if our mentees are ready for their presentations before we welcome our mentors. Please, how many groups do we have, Mr. Dennis?
Okay, so we have two groups, and we'll be taking presentations from mentors before we move over to the mentees.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay. I know that I had seen Mr. Raphael earlier because here, so I'll just, without wasting time, move on to him. Hello, Mr. Raphael. Welcome to today's session. It's an honor having you here with us. Please, the floor is yours to have a brief introduction on today's topic from you before we hear from our mentees. Thank you so much, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
It's always a pleasure to be here. I mean, I love that this initiative has been on for years, and it's an opportunity for people to get to learn. So today I'll be dwelling on the topic music business and law. It's actually a very straightforward topic, but I also think that it's a topic that most people do not understand. I don't know if to say its intricacies, like its tenets, its core tenets. They don't know how to navigate both concepts, music business and law, both individually and collectively. So first, as an entertainment lawyer, I I always tell artists whenever I get to relate with artists, I always tell them that the music you are doing, it may come from a place of talent. You may have it in you. I think Yoruba people will say "abinibi." It may be in you. It may be inbuilt. That talent may be there. For some people, it is premised on spirituality. They see music as a very spiritual concept. I think Fela did. Fela did, and there was a time Chris Brown even referenced Fela in that regard. But ultimately, music is business. um, for people to get to know or to get to know you as an artist, for people to get to know your songs, or for people to get to listen to Fonds by Davido, Dumont Black, and Chike, the processes involved are heavily premised on business. They are premised on agreements, on contracts, on certain understanding. You understand? You get me? So the music industry is quite broad, is very much diverse. It's an industry that cuts across various subsets. So what I would do is I would explain music. I know I have limited time. I think I always have 20 minutes. So I would explain the music business, explain law individually, then explain both concepts collectively, how the nexus between them. So the music business is quite broad. There are various subsets involved in the music industry. Uh, when it comes to conversations about music, we have conversations on the master recordings, conversations on underlying compositions, which we often refer to as publishing. Loosely, we call it publishing. Then we have conversations that pertains to music distribution. So there are various processes involved in making music. Let me start there. Uh, the first process is you first there's a studio. I mean, for you to be able to record a song, there has to be a studio. Someone needs to have set up or established a studio. It can be a private studio. You know, lots of artists they have their studios in their rooms. It can be a public studio. I think there's a studio called Clive Studios, where you can just walk in, you pay, you record, and you go. So after establishing that there's a studio, or after having your studio, the next step would be to actually to actually record and perform the song. You may decide that you want to record the song on your own as an artist. You can also decide that you want to feature another artist. You can feature as much as 10 artists in a song. We saw we've heard the popular We Are the World. Michael Jackson was there. Lionel Richie was there. A host of musicians were there. excluding Prince. So think of any list American artist in the 80s, they were all present in that recording. Having established whether or not um, you're performing the song, you're recording the song alone, you also have to get the services of a music producer. Now, in getting the services of a music producer, you have to get other people involved that will contribute certain musical accompaniments to the production process. You have your guitarist, you have your is it bassist, you have your pianist. I don't know if that term is correct now, but I've heard people use it loosely in conversations about music. You have um, you have a host of other persons that can contribute to the process. So after you record the song, the first thing is the producer lays the beats, then you record on the beats. Then there is a mix and mastering process. After the mix and mastering process, your song is ready for release. You enter into an agreement with a distributor, a publisher, and all of that. Then the song is distributed. You sign up with platforms like BMI, ASCAP, that's performing rights organizations that would help you monitor your royalties and all. So literally, these processes are what we have come to know as music business. Uh, Business is transactional. I mean, every business you enter into is transactional. There is a payment for a particular service or for a particular item that you are purchasing, and the moment consideration is made, goods and services are exchanged, and people proceed. So basically, that is what it is. You understand in the summary. That process, you pay for a studio just in case you don't have a private studio. Then you proceed to pay for a producer that will produce the song. You pay for others that will contribute to the production process. You record, you pay your feature artist agreements. Then you proceed to to also enter into agreements with distributors, publishers, performing rights organizations. And the thing about these organizations is that as they are helping you with your publishing or with your distribution, they are also collecting their percentages. Some of them can even give you advance, like they'll pay you ahead for you to assign a portion of your rights to them. You understand? So, in a summary, this is what music business is about. And when it comes to conversations about law, right? Law helps you protect your intellectual property. Everything that has to do with music has to do with IP. There is no music if there is no copyright. Uh, the fact that the fact that someone can claim ownership of a song is heavily premised on the intellectual property of copyright. That Whiskey can say he sang Oju Elegba is not because he actually sang Oju Elegba, but largely because he has ownership of the song. You understand? Now, copyright does not require registration, right? It doesn't require, it is automatic. The moment you create a copyrightable material, the copyright in yours immediately. You don't have to do any registration and all. But um, you may do copyright notification nevertheless. There's what we call copyright notification. It's done at the NCC, so it gives you priority where there are multiple claims involving a particular copyrightable work. Notwithstanding this reality, there are also instances where you may register your song. Like I just made mention of ASCAP, BMI. So you are required to register with a performing rights organization, a collection society. Uh, what this does for you is, what these registrations do for you is that they help you protect your rights, and they also assist in monitoring your rights and royalties to ensure that your rights are not breached at any point. They stand for you where someone comes to claim ownership of your copyrightable work of your songs. You get. So that is what these people do for you. They basically help you to protect your ownership rights under law. Now, if you bring both concepts together, music business and law together, the role of the law in music business is to protect the music business. It's to protect multiple interests in the music business. I just said that Wizkid can claim ownership of Ojo Elegba simply because it is established under law that he has the copyright in the song, not just because he sang the song. You understand? There are classical examples of where people sang and they don't have full right or full control over their songs. For example, we've seen the popular case of PDD. PDD's "I'll Be Missing You," a song that he did to honor the late Notorious B.I.G. that died about 27 years ago in LA. That song contains a sample of Sting's "Missing You." Yeah. So what happened was Sting made a claim against Diddy. Diddy did not clear the sample, and as a result, the economy. You know, there are two rights in a copyright. Under copyright, there are two rights. There is economic right and there is moral right. Moral right protects the integrity of the song or the integrity of the copyrightable work. That your copyrightable work is not tampered with. It is because you have a moral right. The moral right gives you the leverage to assert that at all times the integrity is protected. What the economic right does for you is that the economic right gives you the leverage to generate revenue from that copyrightable work. Now, to a large extent, Sting has taken control of the economic right of Diddy. Diddy and Pete Evans, they were the ones that performed the song. Diddy took control of that economic right because there is a particular amount that Diddy is meant to pay. Sorry, I said Diddy, Sting. Sting took control of that economic right in PDD's "I'll Be Missing You" because there's an amount that PDD is meant to be paying Sting every day as far as that song continues for the entire copyright duration of that song. There's an amount that he must pay Sting because he sampled the song without Sting's consent, approval. He basically did not, we say clear the sample, he didn't clear the sample. So that is what the law does. The law helps you assert ownership. Somehow the law has also helped Sting to assert ownership because they sampled the song without his consent, without his authority or his approval, and the law stepped in to protect him by saying, no, you can't just sample. There has to be consequences for failing to clear the sample or failing to obtain consent for sampling another person's work or sampling Sting's work. That is what the law does. So the law helps you assert, it helps you protect. The law also helps you agree on terms. It helps you agree on terms and helps you ensure that all the parties that agree on terms, they adhere to those terms. The law is the reason why we have the legal documentation like split sheets, feature or main artist agreement, production agreement. So a split sheet is a document that itemizes the percentage, the publishing percentage splits, the publishing split or publishing percentages between the parties. So I think in a week, an average entertainment lawyer prepares up to like 5 split sheets in a week on an average. The law, a split sheet is a document that it lists out the names of the contributors, then sets side by side the names, their percentages in terms of publishing. Let me explain the concept of publishing. I know that some people may not understand, so let me pause here to explain it. In a song, there are two copyright elements in a song. The elements are the musical work, which is also known as the masters or the master recording, and the underlying composition. Sorry, the sound recording, not the musical work now. I take that again. copyright protects. There are 6 classes of work that are afforded copyright protection. We have the sound recording, the musical work. We have the cinematography, the audiovisual work, which replaced the cinematography. We have the literary work. We have the artistic work. Then we have the broadcast. Now, the first two I just mentioned, sound recordings and musical works, right? They are found in a song. They are the two copyright elements that are found in a song. How? When you hear a song in its elements, in its full element, you hear a song, which popular rain dance, Dave and Thames, right? The song you are listening to, the rain dance you are listening to, is a master recording, right? That rain dance that you are listening to is a sound recording, which is also known as the masters. It is the entire song itself. What you hear is a sound recording, right? Now, if you strip off the voice of the artist that is singing, strip off the performance, and you just listen to the beats, the melody, and, and every other thing without the artist performing, what you are listening to is the underlying composition. So those are the elements that make up the song, but they are known as the underlying composition. So the moment the artist performs on those underlying compositions and we have a full song, it is known as the sound recording. Now that underlying composition is also known as the musical work. So the full song itself is the sound recording. The musical work is the underlying composition. The sound recording is also known as the masters. You will have heard the word master. The underlying composition is also known as the musical work, right? Now, that underlying composition, as I had earlier mentioned, it entails the beats of the producer and the songwriting. That is without performing it now, just the songwriting itself. Um, every other musical accompaniment involved in the production process. The people that contributed, the guitarists, the bassists, and all of that. That is what the underlying composition is about. Now, publishing is that aspect of music business that protects the right in the underlying composition in the musical work and ensures that royalties that accrue to the contributors of the musical work are paid. They are paid to the contributors. So that is what publishing is about in summary. Now, at every point in time, the people that contributed to the underlying composition must be paid. The publishers, that's what publishing entities are meant for. They are there to ensure that your interest is protected. That is where the law comes in. The law says that as far as a musical work is considered as a copyrightable work under law, you must, as a contributor to the musical work, you are entitled to both the economic and the moral rights for which you must be paid royalties. You understand? The economic right is where the royalties flow from. They must be paid to you. You are entitled to the protection of the integrity of that musical work. And it's also the same with the sound recording. The sound recording, on the other hand, belongs to the artist, if the artist is an independent artist, and or the label, if the artist is signed to a label. So that is how it is. The law also protects the sound recording to the extent that the label should be able to monitor and get the master royalties, the master points that accrue from the song. In music business, we call it master points or we call it royalties. You understand? Royalties are of different types. We have mechanical royalties, we have print music royalties, we have public performance royalties, and we have synchronization royalties. So whatever royalty that accrues to each party, right? The law ensures that you get your royalties, and it also ensures that your interest as a contributor in the song is protected. Now, it's also possible for artists to assign their rights in those songs to other people. Very much possible. We've seen it. When I was young, when I was in, was it primary or secondary school? there was a Nigerian artist that I was so much in love with. So much in love with. I love the song and all of that. The album he released. I think this should be last year. I reviewed the agreements whereby, and I reviewed an agreement that was prepared over 20 years ago. I reviewed an agreement whereby that artist and that album that I love so much, the rights in the album was assigned from the artist to a company. A company basically bought the rights, and they bought it for a meager sum of 200,000. For the sake of confidentiality, 200,000 was big money then, right? However, I believe it could have been more. So for the sake of confidentiality, I won't mention the artist and I won't mention the company. But if some of you get to know the album I am talking about, especially the older Gen Zs and the millennials, right? You get to hear the album I am talking about, get to know the artist I'm talking about, you will just be laughing. So it's like that. They can assign their rights, they can transfer their rights to other people. I mean, we've seen companies do it. They'll give you an advance and they'll make you sign agreements that says that whatever interest you have in a particular song or an album goes to them exclusively, like you are transferring it totally. You get. Now, I understand conversations about moral rights not being transferable, but to a large extent, they can be waived. So in those agreements, they would help make provisions to ensure that you waive your moral rights at the end of the day. So yeah, for the sake of time, I could have said more, but I understand that there are other speakers and I have to give way for them. So in conclusion, um, music business, there are various subsets or various aspects of it. You understand? There's a publishing aspect, there's a distribution aspect, there's a performance aspect. Talk about live shows. I think that Dapper Music just recently scored a Guinness World Record, the largest Afrobeat orchestra in the world. That is music business too. It is under live show, live performances, and all of that. There are also other angles to it. Uh, the there's the songwriting angle, which also falls under publishing, but we've also seen songwriting entities spring up over time. It's also possible, I was going to mention this earlier on, it's also possible for one artist to be signed to a label but have multiple deals. So I know I had written a piece on LinkedIn on this. Where I referenced Burna Boy's deal, right? Burna Boy is signed to Atlantic Records in the UK, then signed to Warner Music internationally. Atlantic is a subsidiary of Warner Music. However, I was made to understand that he has a separate deal with Warner Music, which gives Warner Music the rights to push his music on a global level. Now, these are recording deals. So in the publishing aspect, he has a publishing deal with, I think, Universal Music. He also has a management deal or so with Empire in Africa. So there are various tiers and various subsets or aspects of music, of music business. It just depends on where you find yourself as an artist or as a player. There's also the legal part too. As lawyers, we are part of the music business. We are offering our services from a legal standpoint. There are entertainment law firms, top tier entertainment law firms and boutique entertainment law firms, both within Nigeria and internationally. Then on the legal aspects, the law is there to protect your copyrights. It's also meant to protect your image. There are conversations about image rights, conversations about trademark. The law is there to protect it. The law is also there to protect innovations like DSPs. You know, they are a form of innovation. We didn't have DSPs years ago. DSPs are digital service providers. They are basically the streaming platforms that we use. We didn't have DSPs years ago. We had what we used to use for distribution was majorly Alaba until Spotify and others came. So those are Spotify, YouTube, those are DSPs. And the fact that they exist today is a product of innovation. So the law is also there to protect that innovation. We also have music financing. The law is there to ensure that people that invest in music, they get their capital and they also get their profit. You understand? There are various entities that are investing in the music business, in the entertainment business as a whole. There was a BOI Entertainment Fund, that's Bank of Industry Entertainment Fund. There was also, is it no, it was it was called a Nolly Fund. Then there was the Afrexim Bank Creative Industry Support Fund, worth over $500 million. That support fund is a way through which Afrexim Bank finances the music industry, right? The law is there to ensure that that support fund is managed, is used, and Afrexim Bank gets their returns, like they get their profit and capital at the end of the day. You understand? So yeah, in summary, this is it. Thank you very much for your time. I'm very much available for your questions.
Thank you so much to our esteemed mentor that has done so much justice to this topic. So it's always a pleasure for me whenever we come into the music part of law, and because of how much of a music person I am myself. So whenever I hear the music part of it, it's intriguing. Thank you so much, sir, for demystifying a lot of things. There were so many keywords I heard from you, and I cannot wait for the questions to come through on those keywords to, I think, garner for more explanations. But for now, I want to open the floor to the mentees for their presentations, because I believe that we have some brilliant minds in this program that are ready to wow us this evening with a fabulous presentation. Our mentor has kicked the ball out of the park with a fantastic Harvard standard opening to today's discourse. Okay, so if the groups are ready, I want to welcome the first group presenter for this evening to kindly mute and turn on the cameras as we take the first presentation for today. One more time, thank you so much, Mr. Raphael, for an amazing opening to today's discussion. Thank you so much, sir. So please, who will be the first presenter for today? Group one, please.
Okay, good evening, guys. Can you see my screen clearly?
Yes, we can see your screen clearly. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, good evening. So I'm representing Group One, and we're talking about introduction to music business. So this next slide. So over the years, Africa has grown, and the music industry in Africa has grown and exploded to the point that the international and global organizations and the world at large is paying focus and paying attention to Africa, the African music industry, especially with the rise of Amapiano and Afrobeats. We've also seen international collaborations with our local African record labels and African music industry. An example is Universal Music Group and the collaboration with Mavens. Recently, Universal Music Group bought a stake, like an appreciable number of stake of ownership in Mavens Records. Also, we've also seen the rise of Sony Music coming to Nigeria, Warner Music, and an appreciable number of international record labels moving to Nigeria and Africa to invest. So the next point we're going to talk about are the legal frameworks which guide the music industry in Africa. First off, before one can actually say that he wants to become an artist or maybe run a record label, it is essential for that person to note that it is a business. And by virtue of the Company and Allied Matters Act, every business operating in Nigeria should be registered within 28 days of its existence, within 28 days of the Company and Allied Matters Act, by virtue of the provision of Company and Allied Matters Act, every business operating in Nigeria should be registered within 28 days after it is existing and after it has been operating. Also, the Copyright Act is the ground norm, which actually is the principal law which guides the activities of music in Nigeria, because the music in Nigeria or Africa or in the world is described as intellectual property, and as such deserves to be protected, and it's part of the things which are copyrightable. Also, trademarks. So it goes beyond just having a musical brand. as a musician, as a record label, it is very, very essential that you get to trademark your name, trademark your brand, or trademark your merch or slogan to prevent other parties from infringing into your rights. Let's take, for instance, outside the music scene, outside the music scene heading towards the normal social media scene, there was an issue between Very Dark Man and Blord, where Very Dark Man trademarked Blord's name, and Blord trademarks Very Dark Man's brand name. So as an artist who intends to make money from your song, it is very essential that, or as a lawyer, as an entertainment lawyer or a law student, it's very essential that you get to advise your clients to engage in trademarking their song. So now let's talk about music ownership. There's been a lot of issues and disputes to who owns what and who owns which. A lot of people are like, oh, is it the record label that owns the song, or is it the artist that owns the song, or is it the producer that owns the song? So before moving forward, it will be essential that we go through Section 28 of the Copyright Act. It states that the right of first ownership of copyright is vested in the author of the work unless otherwise provided. So originally, the right of copyright ownership is vested in the author of the work, which is the artist and probably the producer. But however, due to certain conditions, like for example, most artists are signed into record labels. So the ownership might likely move or vest from the artist to the record label. And also, for instance, they said otherwise provided in an agreement. Let's say, for instance, now Mr. A comes to a recording studio to record a song with a producer, and during the section, after the session, he gives, or before the section, he gives him a contract, which is a work for hire contract, stating that you are working on behalf of me, and what's the outcome of whatever is the outcome of this job, I am the owner of it. So this vitiates that original or first right of ownership, which the Copyright Act confers on the first author of the work. So it moves this condition would move ownership from the producer to the artist. So now let's talk about types of ownership. So basically, in the music business, there are different types of ownership, or let's say types of copyright, as most people would say. And there are there are two, which is namely the musical composition, which includes the underlying elements of the song, including lyrics, melody, created by the songwriter. And the second is the sound recording. Sound recording includes the musical composition, the parts you put out on distros and everything, otherwise known as the masters, which is known as the master. So in a situation where an independent artist records himself, produces himself, he gets to own both rights, which is the musical composition and the sound recording. However, in the current music industry, the opposite is the case. These two ownership rights are splitted into two. So the musical composition, which has the elements, the lyrics, the beats, and the melodies, are being owned by the songwriters. While the sound recording, which is on the final output, which is to be on distros and etc., are being owned by the record label who funds the project. So from the musical composition, you can rise from the ownership of the musical composition. The artist or the producer can be able to get publishing. They can get, there's what they call the writer's share and the artist's share. So they're like 50-50. There's a circle, let's say a pie. Now there's writer's share and publisher's share. So from the musical composition, they can basically get publishing, but the masters is left for the record label to exploit and basically maybe recoup whatever they have invested in the artist, and then pay the artist whatever is agreed from the record label. Most record deals are like 70-30, 80-20, depends if you're in a slave trade, and some are like 50-50, depends. So that's it. So the next is financing in the music industry. So there's a lot of people always ask, oh, I want to become a musician. How do I get to finance? A lot of people.
Hello, everyone.
Can
Hello,
you
please,
hear
if
me?
you don't mind. Yes,
Can you,
but if you don't mind, please, at this point, I think you need to start rounding off, please.
yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
about wrapping up. Okay. So when it comes to financing music, there are different ways with which an artist can finance his song. Which one of them is self-financing. Most independent artists get to self-finance themselves from their savings, their business, and most times from the royalties generated from monetization of their songs. Secondly, grants. They get grants from government organizations, creative industries, etc., etc. Thirdly, advance. Most independent artists or maybe record labels get advance from big brands. This advance can either be recoupable or irrecoupable. It's more like a loan. So after your song has made so and so amount, then I could basically pay you back, or most times it's irrecoupable. And then also we have loans. So we have, for instance, in Nigeria, we have the Central Bank Creative Industry Financing Initiative, which GT banks, Sterling banks, and other banks have co-opted. So to the next one, collective management organizations. A lot of us as lawyers and law students would have heard about CMOs, but you're very, very confused of what CMOs means. So CMOs are bodies that serve as intermediaries between copyright owners and users of copyright works. So they help you exploit and manage your royalties. They get to retrieve your royalties. For instance, your song is being is being used in a movie outside, or is being played in a radio station outside Nigeria. CMOs get to help you to get the royalties that you should be paid. So the key functions of CMOs are negotiating license with the use of copyrighted work, monitoring the use across platforms and across countries, collecting royalties and distributing these royalties to you. Then, so example of CMOs. So in Nigeria, we have the Music and Copyright Society of Nigeria, MCSN, which is the independent, the indigenous CMO in Nigeria. We also have PRS, Performing Rights Society, which is for UK. We also have ASCAP and BMI, and we also have SACEM also. So in conclusion, the African music business has experienced remarkable growth, adapting to global trends and attracting international investments. Nigeria's evolving legislative framework supports this expansion while protecting stakeholders' rights. So it is essential to note that the music industry and the music business is a web of complexities requiring high in-depth study to fully understand its structure, operations, and governing legal framework. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much to one presenter, and that was quite nice. Please stick to my time for the next presenter. But amazing job going through your slide, quite quite educative. Thank you so much for good job. It shows your group has received their research. Amazing work. Okay, quickly, I want to move to the next group who are ready for their presentation. Please, who is present for group 2? Please? The floor is yours. Thank you very much. Group 2 presenter, please. Hello, group 2.
Hello, good morning, sir. Sorry, good evening,
Hello, good
everyone.
evening. Good evening.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Well, I think it could be quite louder, but we can hear you.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me.
Loud and clear, perfect.
Okay. So I'm sorry for not coming on time. I'll just share my screen immediately so I can start, if that's okay.
That's perfect. Please carry on.
I'll clap you. Sorry. Um,
If you need help sharing your slides, I can do that on my end.
Okay, please help me,
Actually,
please. Thank
yeah, so before I do that, please just go ahead and start introducing yourself.
you. Okay, I'm Ugochi Okechukwu, and I'll be presenting from Group 2. I don't know where I'm noisy. Okay. I'll be presenting for Group 2, and then I'll be presenting on music business and law, legal and commercial foundations of the modern industry. Please, if because of I am outside because of network issue, but just in case you guys can't hear me, please just let me know. So first of all, we're going to talk about introduction. Yes, we all know the music industry, and then our mentor also talked about some things, so I won't have to explain much on maybe the foundations or the introduction. Yes. So we have different music artists, we have different music that we all listen to. This includes both the gospel, secular music, and so on and so forth. Yes. And then music, we can, like recent, we listen to music or artists release music globally through Spotify, YouTube, or You Music, depends on what you are listening, even Google Music, yes, and then other deep SPs. So this actually reduces reliance on traditional label models. Despite new opportunities, the industry remains a structural or structured commercial system. That means the industry mainly actually helps to it generates funds somehow for the artists in different ways. Yes, in different ways, and then it's also used. Of recent, we also have we have intellectual property. Yes, intellectual property now that is coming up is actually a very good means of generating funds now for the music industry and so on and so forth. But most of the times we have all these things coming up like royalties, like I meant to talk about royalties. We have intellectual property, which now is a new, not so new sector in even the legal sector. Yes, as a lawyer, it is a sector that is not so new, but is new. Yes, but still, most artists don't have or they lack knowledge concerning this part. Yeah, they don't really know how to protect their intellectual property rights, or they don't even know how to protect their ideas properly. So, what I'm going to do in this presentation now is to inform us more on how to actually protect these rights. Yes, we're going to inform you about those rights. We're going to inform you about not just music, but we're going to inform you about the legal aspects of music, the music industry, and then would also inform you about recent developments in that music industry. That's what this presentation is hoping to achieve. Yeah, so we examine distribution, royalties, licensing, contracts, copyright infringement, and so and so forth. So I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear.
So I didn't hear you.
I said we can hear you. Please go on. Please prompt me when you
Okay.
need me to change your slides
Okay.
for you.
Okay. So I'll go over to the next slide, which is all about music distribution in the digital economy. So before, okay, and even as of when we are small, when we were still children, when we are listening to music, we use cassettes, maybe that black stuff. Then we'll play the music for a long time because of maybe we're too lazy to bring it out. We keep on playing that particular music for a long period of time. We use cassettes, we use okay, started using CDs and then DVDs and so on and so forth. uh So that was before. In fact, we still do now, at least for CDs. But of recent, we have digital service providers now that enable streaming. of music and downloads. Like you could see free download, even paid download, all of them. You just see it, and it's easy to get now. You don't have to worry about tracking of this and all those stuff. Yes, and these digital distributors, we we have digital distributors now that help gather up maybe files and artwork and help gather up these files and artworks that we need in the music industry. You and be okay, like let me say the one that is I use Google Music or I use YouTube Music, yes. So I could get any even music that uh, um is not even in my language. I get access to all those things there because of this modern technology now, which is the digital service providers. Yes, we have distributor models, which is talking about subscription model, pre-release models, and revenue share model. Yes, subscription model is more about annual fee for unlimited uploads. Yes, when like Google Music now, I know of recent you have to pay, you have to subscribe maybe yearly or monthly. Then we have the pre-release model that's one time per fee for a song or album. So you pay that kind of stuff. Then we have a new share model, so free upload in exchange for cut of royalties. Then we have the commercial impact, yes, of this digital distribution. This style distribution has lowered the entry barriers. So before, and let's say before, I'm not so really sure, but I believe that before you release music, you have to meet this person, meet this very good producer that will produce the music and then have easy access to the market and knows this person with a very good cassette or all those things. You have to take all those things. But now this digital distribution has is enables even and it makes artists more independent. So they're able to reach out to global audience, yes, without much stress, as much as before. Without they don't really need so much investment or that large amount of money to release their music. And then, however, distribution does not eliminate the right to own. So no matter what, you have all these platforms to easily release your music. Like you're an upcoming artist, you have access to all these platforms to release your music. It does not actually change the fact that you need to know your rights. Yes, like you need to understand your rights, not just you know your right or have an idea of your right, but you should know what to do when your rights have actually been infringed on. That's why this topic is very important. So you understand not just the rights, the metadata, the revenue flows, and then the capture value too. So then let's talk about royalties. Royalties is one of them, is part of the things that it's kind of like a benefit, yes, as an artist, so to say. So yeah, royalties like a payment to copyright holders. Yes, when music is commercially exploited. So royalties could be paid, depends on the agreement. Yes, it's actually payment, more like consideration to copyright holders when that their music, however they own their music, whether they bought the copyright or whatever, is when their music is commercially exploited. And the music industry recognizes two distinct copyrights. Yes, which is, and our mentor talked about that. That's the musical composition, and that will be have to do with the lyrics and the model of your music. Yes, and then the sound recording, the master. Yes, he talked about our mentor. Let me make reference to what our mentor talked about today. Talked about the master. I think I took because that was something new for me. So to say, something new I'm learning. So the master has to do with when maybe I'm listening to Davido's song, or let me talk maybe a few song, one of those pieces. Yes, I'm listening to maybe I'm listening to the words and everything. Yes, that was put together with the song, how it's delivered, or maybe you to me, that's the master. Then the music crowd composition is talking about the melody and the rhythms. Yes. So understanding these two rights is very, very important because they help generate different categories of payment. So you can see in a situation, let's talk about there is a particular music. I don't know, it is an international platform, should say. So you may not know the music, but they sang it in a particular film, and then someone wrote the song, and they were actually talking about giving that song to different person to sing. So that person has a particular if it happened that way, the person has his own right to that song. So that's what this person is talking about. So they will generate different categories of it. When a composition is produced or distributed. Let's remember what a composition is. Let's not forget what a composition is. Composition is talking about the melodies and then the lyrics. Yes. So, and that's physical copies, downloads, streaming, and then so on and so forth. Payment flows to the copyright or the publisher whenever the composition is reproduced. So that's mechanical royalties. Yes. Once it's reproduced, payment flows to him if it's done properly, so to say. Yes. And then performance royalties, talking about concert, maybe radio, all this music they play on radio. Yes. So when maybe they play maybe the video songs, probably they are paid, probably. Yes. And so forth. Then in TV, concerts, or maybe they are trying to make an advertisement or a particular song, depending on how wonderful it will be, if you are going to get to the right persons. Yeah, and it's collected and distributed by the PROs, such as AS, CAP, and so on and so forth. So Nigeria uses uses collective organization like the Copyright Society of Nigeria. Yes, to gather all those things.
Hello, good to Hello, good to please,
Sorry, can
at
you
this
hear me?
point, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. At this point, I think you might need to start rounding off, please. Thank you.
Okay. So I didn't hear what you said. What did you say? For network.
I said,
So
please,
I
at
didn't.
this point, you might begin to start rounding off, please.
Okay. Okay. Maybe the slide you made available to everyone. But let me go to the very important part. Let's talk about copyright infringement and then the remedies and then digital enforcement. So when copyright of a music is being infringed on, it's very important that you understand the remedies. You could ask for injunctions to stop further infringement. It's very, very important. Yeah, so the damage will not be so much on you. The monetary damages, you go to court, ask for money, or however, you just start the process immediately. Then to stop that particular infringement, then if is the infringement is massive, then you can go for criminal prosecutions and so on and so forth. Then we talk about digital enforcement. We have a law guiding that particular thing that allows taking down notices to be given to those platforms to take down that particular thing to stop that infringement. Yes. And so always remember that we have the Nigerian Commission that is actually there to help the musicians. So yes, to actually benefit very well from this copyright infringement remedies and all those stuff, remember to register your works as an artist. Always try to register your work. Try to go through the right means, register. Don't just put your work out there. Don't just trivialize your work. It can be used to create something massive, and then the end is the royalties you can get will be massive. Yeah, then negotiate contracts carefully. Don't just sign anything. Understand that contract. It's preferably that you call a lawyer. Yes, call a lawyer to understand that, or even like now, all of us here. could be called. So check the terms of that contract, then understand the metadata and the codes. Don't just sign everything. Check everything concerning that particular pathway strategically. Understand everything concerning your license, maybe the company, how your music is, what your music is, how it will benefit you. Understand everything about the licensing. Then also know that legal literacy matters a lot, both financially, strategically. Yes, it's okay. Like I meant to talk about music industry that he just signed a contract. Everything matters. Yes, so it's very, very important. First of all, let's start with registering. Don't trivialize registering. Don't just put your work out there and let you go. Try to register your work and so forth. Yes, and then in conclusion, let's go back to conclusion. The modern music industry, it sits as an intersection of creativity. Know that the modern music industry is more about creativity and then technology and commerce and law. So all these things need to take into consideration of laws. Like we have intellectual property law is no more it's no more a small thing. Yeah. So you too should not.
Okay, thank you so much, Group 2. I'm believing her network is not helping her this evening, but that's the much we can take from Group 2 on their presentation this evening as we
Don't
need to move on.
just
Hello, Group 2.
reduce the value of that,
Hello, Group
whoever
2.
you are. Maybe I'm wanted to.
Hello, Group 2. Hello. Hello, Group 2. Can you hear me, please? Please, can anyone else hear me, please?
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Boswell, we
thank
can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I think her network is not the best this evening. We're having so much issues with network today, but we need to move on. I believe that was poised to be meant to be a very poised presentation. Unfortunately, the network is not so friendly. Okay, at this point, I want to revert. I don't know, Mr. Dennis, is that a group three or we have just two groups for this session?
So we just have two groups of this session. You can get back to the mentor, Mr. Raphael, for
Yes,
feedbacks and
yes, no
for
problem.
feedbacks and further discussion.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to confirm if you had just two groups. Thank you so much. At this point, I believe that our astute mentor has been listening to our mentees give us a masterclass on the music law. We've had them define music law, move from the laws governing music law, how this law, how it's operational basically. We've also heard them mention some terms. So I'll come back to him to give his feedback and his reaction to the presentations and the materials they sent, and to throw more light on these presentations, as well as on the topic on discussed this evening. And then we'll take more questions. But before that, do you mind if I ask everyone to please turn on their cameras? If you could quickly do a picture time, if you don't mind, please. Is that fine, Mr. Dennis?
Yes, that's fine by me. Please let everyone turn on their videos if that would be possible so that we can quickly take pictures. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's just turn on our cameras as we quickly have a picture time, take a very wonderful picture. That's evidence of you being here in class. So thank you so much. I
Please,
see
can we
so
have
many
more people
cameras as
cooperate?
well.
For the mentees, please let's cooperate. Please let's turn on our video camera. If you have enough lighting in your background, We would like to see your very, very beautiful and wonderful faces. So please let's turn on our videos. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's the best we can do for now. Mr. Dennis, are you good to go, please?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I want to revert to our mentor, as I said earlier, for his feedback on the presentations, as well as three more insights on the topic for discuss this evening. I know that we have questions that have risen from our research and all that. We'll try to take the questions after this reaction. Please, Mr. Raphael, over to you, sir, for another wonderful session for you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Very loud and clear, please. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you require my feedback on the presentations, right?
So if the camera not there for us, you go look.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So first
Yes,
of all,
sir.
I would say kudos to to everybody that presented. Kudos to I think there were basically two actually. You guys did a great job. Uh, I particularly like the second speaker. Uh, the conversation actually flowed from one point to another. Like you could tell that the both speakers understood their assignment in terms of presenting. They also had a grip of the topic that they were presenting on. I also understand that even for limitation of time, they could have said more, especially the second speaker. She was heavily interrupted at every point. So yeah, it was a good presentation. Um, okay, I think I'll leave it at that for the sake of time. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, kudos, well done.
Okay, thank you, sir. At this point, I also want to throw the floor open to you still. Are there things you want to throw more light on when it comes to music business and law? While I get the questions from my mentees for you, sir, please, if the things you want to throw more light on, the floor is yours, sir, so we can expatiate on some matters. Probably they've mentioned some things during their presentations that you want to throw more light on, or during your own presentation, probably there are things you wanted to say much on, but due to time, you had to cut short on them. So you could throw more light on those things, sir. Thank you so much.
So I think we're good. I think we're good. The there were certain areas that I would have loved to speak on that the presenter spoke exhaustively on. So I paid I paid much attention to them, to the two of them. But the first speaker actually, the guy that spoke, actually talked about a couple of things that I didn't have the time to mention or to talk about. So if anyone has a question or an area that is not particularly clear, it doesn't have to be limited to the things I said or my presentation. You can also bring up questions from from the two persons that presented, and I'll provide clarity on them.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. At this point, mentees, there's one thing I'm very particular about is when you all have live questions. We have a real legend here in the music entertainment business and law. So if there are those questions you want him to throw more light on, please, now is that time. I can tell you that while I was a mentee on this program, this was the time to shine because There were a lot of questions. Things I had questions too, and our mentors are well equipped to answer those questions. So I gave them that moment. They answered them, and I was really, really intrigued by those answers. So please, if you have questions, kindly signify with the raise of hand, and I'll call you. I'm really, really looking forward to those live questions. Thank you so much. So mentees, over to you, please. Let's make it fast so that we can have our mentor have enough time to speak. So if you have questions, kindly send them in. So while we're waiting for that, we have a question that was sent earlier on, sir. The question reads, how can a reasonable creator benefit from his creativity? So I would tailor it to saying, how can a responsible creator in the music business benefit from that creator's creativity in the music business? So please, over to you, because earlier you mentioned several rights, mentioned royalties, mentioned several copyrights, and broke down a lot of things. So in this case, how then can the creative, in this instance, benefit from everything? Thank you, sir.
So first, nothing beats understanding your rights and understanding the implications of those rights, the benefits that follows those rights, and the liabilities that also follow those rights. You understand? Um, if you are a creator in the music industry, right? No man is an island. No man can do it all by himself. No man can do it alone. You definitely need the assistance of people to work with you. This is why I always say that they will tell you that it's good to be an indie artist. If you are indie means independent. You don't have to share your royalties with people. All the royalties you generate, they will go to you. People often cite Bad Bunny as a typical example. Sam Benito, you know Benito, Bad Bunny, the one that just played the Super Bowl. So there are rumors or conversations that have been flying around that he's an independent artist. But the reality is he truly independent? Because we know he distributes. I think he distributes through Universal Music. So definitely there's a percentage of his royalties that Universal Music gets. So because you cannot do it alone, it's in your own best interest if you work with people. If you're an independent artist, try to get signed to a label. I also understand that the revenue may not, all labels may not want to work with you. There are so many labels that turned down on Thames when Thames first started, and she had to do her thing herself. But she didn't do it alone. She grouped with Donawan, that's Muyiwa, our manager, and this guy, what's his name? That is one half of SDC, of Show Them Camp, Wally. So they came together and they formed the label called the Leading Vibe. And through that label, they've been able to do exploits. So it's in your best interest to collaborate with people. If you won't get a label, have a team, have a lawyer by your side. We are all law students or lawyers here. So if there is someone who is not a lawyer or is not a law student, I would say get a lawyer that you can be close to, that you can trust. Obviously, pay the lawyer. It's not to be shouting my lawyer, my lawyer, my lawyer up and down all over Lagos and Abuja. You have to pay too. So get a lawyer, and the lawyer will stand for you. Try to get signed to management entities or collection societies. Thankfully, there has been a democratization of these things. You don't have to know somebody that knows somebody to get signed to BMI or ASCAP. You can just go on their website, register on the platform, and they will help you with monitoring your royalties. And at the end of the day, you're good. You understand? So to protect your works, to get your royalties, you need structure. And that structure comes from a place of collaboration or working with other people. So yeah, in the summary, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So, please, whoever sent in that question, I hope you listen to that, because and I'll advise you after now, please go to our YouTube channel to go through this session again. That was I think I have something now to tell the clients on how they can benefit more from their music business and as a creative. Okay, I see a hand up. Please go ahead, please.
All right, so it's me that's asking a question. And my question basically just falls within the lines of how artists can get out of problematic contracts. We see that in the music business, one of the major things that most artists face is that they enter into a contract that is, I think, let me borrow the words of one of the presenter, that is a slavery kind of contracting going on. And if an artist gets to the point where but obviously he gets to a point where, for lack of choice of words, he has blown, right? And he wants more out of his contract, but because of the limitation of the original contract he has signed, how does he maneuver his way around it to ensure that he's able to get the best deals? He can get better deals, and also, if he has to exit, what are some of the exit strategies he can take advantage of to leave some of those problematic
Sorry,
labels
your
and
voice is a bit
financial.
low. Your voice is a bit low. I can barely hear you. I don't know if you can come in again.
Okay, sir, sorry. I just had to change the verse. So I was saying that how does an artist get out of a problematic contract? We know that most times some of the issues that artists have is that they enter into a contract that becomes so problematic. The sharing formula is very, very poor. And because of the initial longings to become a standout artist, they want to shine, they get into all kinds of contracts that is many times not in their best interest. So my question is just basically, how does an artist get out of such a situation where he entered into a contract that is not necessarily favorable for him, or he wants a better deal for himself? How does he go around negotiating to get to get better? That's just generally my question.
So this can be very dicey. It can be very, very dicey, I must confess. Um, and it's actually a very common issue in the music space. You will see these issues over and over and over and over again. But let's do it this way, right? When you sign an agreement, there are certain provisions on that. First of all, it's imperative that you almost always review your agreement. But then, like you said, some persons are desperate to blow in quotes. Everybody wants to be the next Ashake, the next Rema, the next Whiskey, the next Thames, the next Burna Boy, the next Davido. So you can't particularly blame anybody for desiring a better life or a better career for themselves. So let's rule out the blame game. But then again, it's a lesson. Going forward, as an artist, you must review, you must ensure that you vet all agreements that you have pen your signature on. Now, let's assume an artist has signed a bad contract. Let's see how we can pull out the artist from that contract. So first, is there a buyout clause? There are various recording, publishing, distribution deals that, especially recording deals anyway, that make provisions for buyout clauses. So what does a buyout clause mean? A buyout clause is a clause that gives you the right or the temerity to buy yourself out of a contract. So when you enter into a recording contract, you are entering into a recording obligation. There are a certain number of songs that you are expected to produce for the label within a certain duration of time. If you don't want to produce those number of songs and you don't want to stay in the label for that duration of time, you trigger the buyout clause if the agreement contains a buyout clause. What you basically do is you tell them that, okay, you don't want this obligation. Those buyout clauses are mainly triggered where the artist gets a bigger opportunity. So you tell the label that, oh, please, I don't think I can fulfill these obligations anymore. I want to buy out of my obligations, buy out of this contract. You would have a conversation, and it is also very common where you've been given an advance. An advance is an amount of money they pay to you for you to. So it is either paid to you or it is expended on your career. Sometimes it can be both. A percentage will be paid to you, another percentage will be expended on your career. You understand? So that's what an advance is. Um, so once that buyout clause has been triggered and both parties have come to a consensus at the end, oh, we don't want this contract to continue anymore. In view of this, everybody can go their separate ways and all of that. You have to activate that buyout clause with a lawyer that is very, very good. Very, very good. I'm not even joking. The lawyer has to be able to negotiate for you because most lawyers will call ridiculous amounts. You understand? So let's say there is no buyout clause, and let's also say the ridiculous amount that has been called, the amount that has been called is so ridiculous that it doesn't make sense for you to pay it. So what other alternative are you left with? You call for a renegotiation of your contract or your agreement with them. Let them know that there are certain provisions that you are not pleased with and that you seek a review of those provisions just in case you still want to stay in the label. Your lawyer would also come on board, join you to negotiate. You you'll be able to negotiate at the end of the day to say, okay, these are the terms I would like to adhere to going forward. These are the terms that I would like to be expunged from the agreement. People do it a lot. I've worked on a renegotiation conversation. I've been involved in various renegotiation conversations. There's a popular artist, an A-lister that was supposed to leave his label, but stayed longer because it was renegotiated. So it's a win-win for everybody. So I think Davido even renegotiated his contract with Sony Music. So um, that works. Then, in an instance where renegotiation does not work, buyout clause is not present or the amount is ridiculous, your best bet is to approach the courts and make a claim that the agreement was signed under the elements that vitiate. There are elements that vitiate contracts. So you can approach the courts if you are able to make a tangible claim or case for yourself. At the end of the day, the contract will be terminated by the courts. It will be deemed void by the courts if you are able to make your argument. Your lawyer is able to make an argument for you. So yeah, these are the three instances I can actually think of.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. As we begin to move towards rounding off, I have a question, and I think we have one in the chat box I'm trying to get a hold of. You talked about buyout clauses. Is there any relation between buyout clauses and termination fees? Are they the same thing, or is there a difference between the both of them? And you've explained where buyout clauses operate. In the event where termination fees are different from buyout clauses, where do termination fees actually take effect? And if they're one and the same, okay. Please, over to you, sir.
So if I get your question correctly, it is whether termination fees and buyout clauses are the same, right?
Yeah, but three buyout clauses are they the same thing? If they are not, where do termination fees actually take effect from?
Termination fee is a fee you pay for an earlier termination. Buyout clause is that you are buying your right out entirely. So termination fee, termination fee is common in instances of early termination. Maybe you want to exit the agreement on time, but I don't think it ends there. You understand? Because you can exit an agreement, and whatever rights that are supposed to accrue to you, the label will still be taking those rights. You understand? Now, buyout gives you the leverage to you are buying out everything. You're right. I think there was an instance where Mace, Bad Boy Mace, I don't know, like Mace is an American rapper that was signed to Bad Boy Records. So he's either known as Mace or Bad Boy Mace. So the older Gen Zs and millennials will know him very well. He had a monstrous hit song in 2004 called Welcome Back. So Mace was trying to buy out his right, he had left Bad Boy, left entirely. His contract had expired, so he was trying to buy out his rights, his musical rights from Bad Boy for a long time, but he couldn't. Till now, I don't think he has been able to, because there have been instances where he had multiple instances of him insulting Didi, calling out Didi that Didi does not want to. So what buyout does for you is buyout gives you the right to terminate and live with your rights, but because you are basically paying the label whatever they have expended and whatever they stand to gain from having access to your rights. But termination is basically you just terminating the agreement and nothing more. That's what the termination fee does. It doesn't bring it into the conversation, your rights and all of that. So, yeah, in simple terms, that is it.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Please, one more time to our mentees. Do you have a question you would love to ask to our mentor before we wrap off rather this session? Okay, so we have a question in the chat box that reads, what do songwriters get in all of this? I know earlier you had mentioned something about copyrights and writing. Basically, copyrights should cover writing. So then, what do songwriters get in all of this? Over the years, I've heard there are ghostwriters who write songs. Of course, we know they get paid. Now, what kind of payments can you say these persons who are songwriters get, or what kind of revenue do they get in the long run? Are there different kinds of revenues they get, or they just get paid once and for all?
So it depends on your agreement. There are three ways to pay songwriters, composers, and producers. So you either make a one-off payment to them, right, which will see them assign their entire rights to you, or you give them a meager amount of payment and a meager amount of money, and they would also be entitled to royalties. And also, generally, songwriters are entitled to royalties. They're entitled to publishing splits. You get publishing percentages. So for their contribution to the underlying composition, you must pay them. Now, if a a songwriter is paid outrightly without any entitlement to it's possible to pay a songwriter without any entitlement to royalties. Very, very possible. In fact, it's very common. That's what ghostwriters are meant for. You get. So I'm not saying that ghostwriters are not paid. They are not paid royalties. So it's possible to pay a ghostwriter royalties, but generally, most ghostwriters are paid on a one-off basis, and after that, they don't receive any other payment again. So, but for you to be able to sell your rights, assign your rights rather, so that you will not be able to benefit from what you contributed to its making, you just know that that money is very big. Very, very big. Like, it's indubitable that that money is what we call block. You know what Nigerians call block? So that's what the money is. So, but songwriters actually are entitled to publishing splits. As a matter of fact,
Okay, sir.
so as a matter of fact, they are entitled to publishing split. It's a must, so it's not negotiable. You get, but it's also possible for them to say, for them to agree that they want to assign their publishing split to the people that have contracted them. I mean, very much possible. Nothing stops that. You understand? So yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's it.
Okay, so sir, there's another question here. Thank you so much for that answer already. So another question here. Producers signs to a record label, in bracket, in-house producers. I think that already answers itself. Is their contract made to only produce for for the label artist only, or they could work with other artists outside the label? Producers
They can
signed
work
to a
with
record. Okay.
they can work with other artists outside the label actually. So what when you hear that a producer is signed to a label, the producer is often signed on a management basis. So what that means is the company oversees their management or manages them. That's what it means in literal terms, right? So what the royalties that accrue. So there was a case I handled last year. So there was a very popular Nigerian song. It blew up January last year. Some of you may even know the song I'm talking about. It was the ideal song for the new year. It was number one on the charts, Spotify, Apple Music, it was everywhere. The artist was also engulfed in a legal battle, and he recently came out to apologize. So I won't mention anybody's name, but some of you already know what I'm talking about.
You know what you're talking about.
the producer,
Hmm.
the
I hope
producer
it's
behind
what
that song
it
was
is.
signed. The producer behind that song was signed to a label. Oh. He went and produced the song without the label. So the thing about being signed to a label is that you can produce for others. But because it's like a feature, an artist that is signed to a label, before you feature such artists, you must take you must get you must clear that feature with the label. So the producer went out and produced the song without particularly um, notifying his label that he had produced a song. Oh, the song came out, song became a hit, and the label did not get royalties as the label was supposed to. So the label filed for a takedown, and the song was taken down. So that's an example. Then I currently serve as a legal manager for Dapper Music Group. Under Dapper Music Group, we have a production unit, a production management entity called Bangers Only Productions. So that's a typical example of an entity with a production arm. Please, the scenario I talked about, Dapper, that one was an entirely different. It was before I joined DAPA, so I was working as a lawyer. As I had a law firm I was running personally, so I was called to handle that work, and I did it. So yeah, that's it. In simple terms, you can produce for other people, but because you have a deal with a particular label, the label will be the one to be collecting the revenue, and you'll be getting your split. So yeah,
Okay, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much, sir.
Now, Peter,
Thank
I
you
have a
so.
question. I have a question. Short.
I'm sorry. Do you mind raising your hand, please, before you ask? So it allows us to control the room. Please quote your quote according to your size. Thank you. Okay. Is the question still valid? I don't know. Okay. R star plus one. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I want to ask regarding the clause that surrounds an artist leaving a label, whereby the song is already being copyrighted, is the legal right of a particular label, maybe due to whatever deal he has with the deal. But now with another label, more like let's say Bonner or Davido, with any of this international
yeah.
label, now having to perform some of their old songs tied to any of this label. Does the old label get any right, any royalties on this, or does it have to be a case whereby the artist
You know,
they don't know how to perform such a case? That was
no.
one.
So the way it works, it depends on. So I've also witnessed. I've witnessed. Not like I worked on this, but I've witnessed both scenarios. So ideally, when you leave a label, right, you you should have the right to still perform those songs. You should. Under law, nothing stops you because you have the copyright in the song. But we've seen instances where the artist was not able to perform those songs after leaving the label. Most likely as a result of a dispute. Maybe there's a dispute between the artist and the label. Maybe they are fighting, and the artist gets so there was a time that for years Vector the Viper could not release any song because he had released a project because he had a dispute with his former label YSG. I also think he could not perform. Yeah, I suspect so. I think so. So it depends. It is only a dispute that would make an artist to be unable to perform songs that were recorded while he was in the label. Burna Boy still performs songs he released under Aristocrats. Burna Boy goes to shows and performs to nights, like to party, Yawadi and the rest. You understand? Dremo, which other person again? Peruzzi, they still perform songs they release under DMW.
Shadow.
Then it's also possible for the label. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It's also possible for the label to buy the rights in the song, right? The label would buy entirely the rights in the song. I've seen that one firsthand. The artist was leaving the label, and the label bought the rights to a song such that you will not be able to see the song on the artist portal on Spotify and other DSPs. Which I've seen it. Uh-huh. So yeah, you can still perform the song, but if there's an issue, there's a legal issue that bars you from performing the song, then you will not be able to. But generally, most labels allow you to perform. In fact, you are entitled to perform the song, except they buy the rights entirely to the song, or there's a legal barrier that prevents you from performing the song. So yeah, that's it. Please, one last question. I have to get back to work.
That was just a part, sir. Sorry, that was a part of the question I want to ask. The other part of the question has to do with the over some years back there was this trend video of Akon, whereby he said he hacked the game by having to do ringtone friendly songs, and he realized some of the ringtone doesn't cover into his contract, and he started making something of such. I'm now of the proactive thought of this. What if probably in the next few years, an artist currently, maybe an indie artist or having a distribution or a publishing deal with any label, have to do something that their label doesn't cover. And maybe over time, the label now have to come with maybe any of these 360 clause kind of thing to say, okay, you still own some rights to this. In that case of Akon, how can he get to go about it in such a way that you won't get
Was it ringtone? Like ringtone was not captured in his agreement.
Yes, he said the ringtone wasn't. He asked his lawyer that there was ringtone, and they had to realize that ringtone doesn't cover. And he made some millions of dollars over just selling ringtones to Apple and some of all these network providers. And he made a whole lot, which this doesn't cover into his deal. And let's say probably the labels have to call for him to say, okay, no, we own some rights to this. How can artists or probably the labels get to go around that? Or maybe in the next few years, an artist in Nigeria now tend to be saying, okay, music deal, music licensing,
If
and
if
who knows, maybe
if it,
other people, that people see that like a leakage to hack in the game. Can the label now say, okay, this covers? There's maybe probably due to some 360 deal club.
if the if the if the um if the agreement does not state that ringtone is part, except it is 360 deal, right? It is only a 360 deal that gives a label the leverage to generate revenue from all sources, including ringtones. If it was a 360 deal that the artist signed, then the label can. It doesn't even have to be stated in the agreement that ringtones. As far as that agreement is referenced as a 360 deal, whatever revenue you generate, right, automatically goes to the label. A percentage of it goes to the label. That's how 360 deal works. It's a full deal that gives the label the leverage to take from your revenue. Now, if it is not a 360 deal, then the deal has to state um um instances where the label should be able to be able to collect from your revenue. You understand? So if those instances are not stated, if ringtone is not captured as part of those instances and the deal is not a 360 deal, then the revenue should entirely go to Akon. But then again, if Akon has a management deal with that same label, so a management deal um, under a management deal, if the ringtone gig, right, these things don't just happen. It's not that your ringtone just come up somewhere. The labels help you source for gigs. They help you source for shows. If this someone performing at Coachella, best believe it was legit. If it's a bargaining deal with Nike or with Adidas, it was the label that ran it. So if it is such that the label was the one that facilitated that deal, automatically on management level, the label will get still
Hello everyone. I don't know. I think we lost Mr. Raphael there. Please, can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, Mr. Costa.
Okay, okay. So while I'll give I'll give me a while for us to be sure of the break in transmission. Mentees, I want to advise, please. Once we request for questions, let's try to. We've done our research before time. Ensure that you're beforehand you have these questions put together because the fire brigade towards the end of the session it gets really interesting. But here's the truth: your questions early enough makes it more interesting. Please, in the Gypsy program, ensure that you're as involved as possible. That's the beauty of this program. It creates a space for you to have so much involvement with other mentees and, of course, with your mentors. Okay, so I'll pause to be sure that Mr. Raphael is back with us as we round off with that question. And if he's not, I would say that's the best we can have for this session. So sorry to all that our other mentors could not join us today. They were quite swamped with other activities, and we hope that we'll have them some other time. But I think that's much you can take today on entertainment business and law, talking on the topic music business and law. It's been a fantastic session. Huge kudos to both groups for awesome presentations. To not forget, whenever you're presenting, ensure you have a good network coverage wherever you are and just hit the ball out of the park. Amazing jobs, guys, and amazing jobs here this evening. So thank you so much. That's the best we can do for this particular session. For all of us here at Gypsy, we say thank you. My name is Gustav Kamalani. It's been an awesome time moderating this session. And from here, I want to say thank you and please have a wonderful evening rest. Good night.